In this lesson, we're gonna see how to create a water effect using N particles. There are a lot of limitations when it comes to use the N particles to create water simulations. So you can't get that realism of the water effect. But for very simple effects, you can use it. So let's get started. Make sure you open the scene called Cup Start version 01. So when you open the scene, you'll notice I have two cups. I animated one cup for you. Okay. So let's now fill the cup with water. So if I select the animated cup, and then if I go to N particles, and here you'll notice we have the fill object. So let's click on the option box, and you'll notice here we have the resolution. So the more you increase this value, the more particles you get. And if I hit apply, and let's go and see, as you see, we didn't create any water. So we need to do one step. If I check the double walled, this means we are telling Maya that I have a thickness on the cup. So now if I hit apply, as you see, I fill the cup with the water. But the problem is this filled the whole cup with the water. I want to fill just the half of it. So let's undo that. Okay. So let's select it again, and you'll notice here we have the mean y. So if I set that, for example, to 0, we need to change the max y to 0.5. This will fill the half of the cup. So if I hit apply, as you see, I filled half of the cup with the water. So, and another thing you'll notice, we have very low resolution. So let's undo that. And let's increase the resolution about 15, and let's hit apply. As you see, now I get more particles in the cup. So let's go back to our camera and let's close this window. As you see, the water is falling down. We need to convert the objects to passive colliders. So let's select both of them, and let's go to enclose, and let's click on create passive collider. And now the water should be inside the cup. Okay, as you see, now the water are falling down and going inside the second cup. But let's go to the first cup here, and if I hit play, as you see, the particles are not colliding with each other. So let's select the N particle one, and let's go to attribute editor, and let's go and turn self collide on. And now if I hit play, as you see, the particles colliding with each other. Now the problem is, as you see, the water falling down, but everything seems too big. So as you see, the movement of the particles or the water is not realistic. So it's very slow. So the reason is, if I come to nucleus and if I scroll down, you'll notice in the scale attributes we have the space scale. So if I decrease that to, for example, 0.5, this will make it a little bit faster. So let's try it again and see. As you see, now the water falls more naturally. Okay, so now let's convert the particles to geometry. So let's go first to our camera, and let's select the N particle one, and if I go to modify, and then if I go to convert, and here you'll notice we have N particles to polygons. So if I click on that, and you'll notice we don't have any polygons yet in the viewport, because we need to go to the N particle again, and let's go to output mesh. In this tab, let's control the threshold. So let's decrease that to 0.2, and let's increase it, decrease it a little bit more, 0.1 and 0.05. As you see, we start getting the mesh in the viewport. So let's decrease it a little bit more, 0.02. Now we get the water or the mesh in the viewport. And if I come here on the wireframe, as you see, the resolution is too low. So we can control the resolution by coming to mesh triangle size. So the more you decrease this value, the more res you get. But the problem is the calculation will take longer to calculate, so you need to be careful about that. 0.25. As you see, we get more polygons on the mesh. And here you'll notice we have the max triangle resolution. This is the max resolution you can get, so you can increase that to 200 and then decrease this value. So, and here you'll notice we have the mesh smoothing iteration. This will add more smooth to the mesh. For example, let's set that to 2. And you'll notice here we have the blobby radius scale. So if I decrease that to 0.1, for example, or let's 0.4, let's try 0.8, and this is controlling the shape of the particles, okay, as you see. Let's leave it at 0.8, and here you'll notice we have the motion stick. So if I increase that, as you see, we get more mesh on the particles. Let's leave it at 0. And another thing you'll notice in the outliner, we don't see the end particle again in the outliner, as you see. And when we converted the end particles to a mesh, as you see, we created a poly surface. This is the mesh, but where is the particles? How we can see the particles again in the viewport? So if you select the end particle one, and let's go to end particle shape, and if you scroll down to the display, object display, you'll notice here we have intermediate objects. So if I turn that off, now you see I get the end particles back in the viewport. So let's hide the mesh to see that. As you see, we can see the end particles again in the viewport. So let's click on intermediate object to hide that and show the poly surface. And let's go back and play that again and see. Another thing I want to mention here, this is very important. If I zoom in, and sometimes let's turn off the mesh, sometimes you get really bad result on the mesh. As you see here, we have a gap. You can fix that by selecting the end particles and going to the output mesh and decrease the triangle size a little bit more. And remember, this will make the simulation take longer to calculate. And sometimes I figured out, even if you decrease that, you still get the problems. I don't know why. This is not, the Maya meshing is not that good. Okay, so try to decrease this value and increase the triangle resolution here in order to fix that problem. Maybe this will help you. So that's it for this lesson. See you in the next lesson.